Hello, and welcome to a Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness video, where today we will be completing the game with a Tangela only. Now, I am very hopeful for this run, because I think Tangela's got some good things going for it, but specifically I think its stats are the best thing it has. It has 65 HP, 55 attack, 115 defense, 100 special attack, 40 special defense, and 60 speed, and gets access to mostly normal and grass type moves with only one dark type move. Despite that, I do think its stats, its really good defensive stat, and its moderately good special attack will hopefully make up for some of its shortcomings. I'm really hoping that I can have found a decent grass type in this game. So anyway, this is our Tangela, now ported into the game. It has a bashful nature, which doesn't really do anything. It's a neutral nature, which I guess is fine. I would have liked a little something, but I guess it's good not to lose anything. It gets access to the Chlorophyll ability, which raises its speed when it's sunny, which might come into play because it does have a moderately low speed stat. And at level 10, it has the moves Absorb, Ingrain, Constrict, and Sleep Powder, according to Bulbapedia. So let's go ahead and get right into this. And the first thing I do is I beat the old lady here to get access to the TM for Bullet Seed. This will be basically a better move than Constrict in all ways, so I teach it immediately. And just like that, we move straight into the rambling part of this video while I beat the Power Rangers. Anyway, if you are liking this video so far, why not consider subscribing, maybe? I don't know. Or liking, or commenting a Pokemon down below that you would like to see. I was told that someone would like to see a grass type, and I thought Tangela would probably be the most fun, because he's kind of funny looking. And I thought his stats were probably good enough to beat the game, but I might be eating those words later. And yeah. Oh, also I learned Poison Powder here. I do actually teach it over Ingrain. And soon after I learned the move Vine Whip, which is just going to be a better Bullet Seed, because I don't have to rely on the luck of Bullet Seed hitting more than twice. And on top of that, it's going to be just doing more damage overall, I think. And that leads us straight into the first boss of the game, which is Lavrina. She leads with a Love Disc and a Beautifly. Now, Beautifly is a big threat here because it is 4 times resistant to my grass-type moves, and at the moment that's all I have as attacking types. So it's either I use the grass-type moves, or I poison it and kind of pray it doesn't do enough damage to take me down. One thing to note here is that Vine Whip only has 10 PP, and Absorb isn't much better. It's at 20, but with its low base power, it's not going to be all that helpful anyway. So I go for Vine Whip, trying to take down the Beautifly, another Gust, and I get taken down. So I go straight to training up to just hopefully survive attacks better and do some more damage. And at level 31, I get access to the move Mega Drain, which is just a better Absorb in all ways other than PP. So we go right back into the battle, armed with our new move, and the first thing we're going to do is, just as before, we're going to put the Beautifly to sleep. That's just because it does super effective damage all the time, and on top of that, it just takes a long time to take down. Now I'm going to use Mega Drain into it because it is a stronger move than Vine Whip, and as you can see, it's actually doing quite a decent chunk now that I've gained a few levels. Granted, it was a crit, so maybe I'm overestimating how much it actually does. Okay, so it's still probably about a 5-shot, but still better than what it was, I guess. So now I'm just going to use Vine Whip to save on some PP, because I'm going to need the Mega Drains for later in the fight, I think. A Gust comes out, doesn't really do too much to me, and I take down the Beautifly. And this is where the fight actually gets a little harder, and that's because Roselia, just like the Beautifly, is 4 times resistant to all my moves as well. So I have to put it to sleep and do basically the same thing as I was doing before. Yeah, this is a bit of a long fight. And that's really where the grass type starts to struggle, especially in this game. I've talked about it in the Bulbasaur line video, but I think grass types are probably the worst type in this game, just because there's so many types that 4 times resist them, or just naturally resist them. And on top of that, the grass type is just weak to a lot of stuff in general. Anyway, I've just decided to speed up this whole little section because honestly, nothing really that interesting happens. And we can get right along to the next Pokemon, which is a Shadow Delcatty. Now this thing is actually... could be a bit dangerous, because I'm not sure if Vine Whip is technically a physical move. Well, all grass-type moves are all special attacks, but for some reason some special attacks have properties like contact moves on specific abilities, and I think Vine Whip might be one of those. So if I hit Delcatty with Vine Whip, I think I might be able to get hit with the Cute Charm ability, which is basically just Attract. Anyway, I'm rambling, and I might actually be wrong on that one. But, something I think might happen. Anyway, I beat Lavrina. Not too bad. Of course, we can't have a Pokemon XD Gala Darkness without the obligatory Mirror Beam mention. Look at him go. And over at Mount Battle, I'm going to do something that's a little strange, and I'm actually going to reteach Ingrain over Poison Powder. Now, you might be wondering why that would be, because usually there wouldn't be any reason to do this. And it's because of this trainer right here. She leads with a Spinarak and a Beautifly, and we've already seen how well Tangela does against Beautifly. And while the Spinarak isn't nearly as strong as the Beautifly is, it is still resistant to my Grass-type moves, and also has a move called Nightshade, which will be doing a consistent 20 damage, I believe, which isn't great. On top of that, after the Spinarak goes down, out comes Dustox, which is also 4 times resistant to all my Grass-type moves. And the big problem here isn't so much that I can't take them down, it's the fact that I can't take them down with the amount of PP I have. So I actually had to level up quite a bit for this fight, because both of my Grass-type moves only have 10 PP each. And by the time it took me to get to Vulpix, I would be out of PP and the fight would basically be over. And that's where Ingrain comes in. It just keeps me alive a little bit longer. Anyway, we go to Realgam Tower after that fight, where we pick up my 2 favorite TMs, Protect and Hidden Power, which I go and teach Hidden Power right away, hoping for something good. And unfortunately, it's Hidden Power Poison. Anyway, I also go and teach Body Slam, which is going to be my second best move in most instances. And we move right along into Snaddle. Now Snaddle is a bit odd because honestly he doesn't stack up too well against the Grass type, except at the very end he's got a Matang. So anyway, in this battle I'm going to leave the Quagsire alive because it does have a small chance to miss Rock Tombs, which it really isn't. And most of my enemies' Pokemon can actually get taken down by Mega Drain, except for the Cast form here. And it's spamming Icy Wind, which is a move I haven't really ever seen it used before. So that's kind of interesting. So now I'm super slow. I go for Mega Drain to see how much it's going to do. And Quagsire just used Ice Punch. Huh, I didn't know I could do that. Anyway, I go for Sleep Powder, put the Matang to sleep. Body Slam's doing basically nothing. A Confusion comes out. It's not really doing too much to me either, though. Okay, this is looking possible. Never mind. Okay, that's a little unfortunate. And I go down. Okay, well that's alright. So we go right back into it after another loss. And, yes, and this is now the 3rd attempt. And one thing I learned here is that Lunatone actually isn't a one-shot with Mega Drain, which is a little unfortunate. Out comes Cast Form once again. Fruity Pebbles rain down, doing some damage. Mega Drain still doesn't take down the Cast Form in a single hit. More Fruity Pebbles. I go for Hidden Power to take it down just to save on some PP. Out comes Matang, Shockwave comes out, and the real thing I learned from the previous fight is that lowering my speed so much from the Quagsire just isn't the best way to go. I thought it wouldn't be too bad because I can one-shot at any time, but it turns out that it's just probably better to stay faster than everything. Anyway, a few Mega Drains and I take down Matang and beat him on the third attempt. Anyway, moving right along, we go to Gonzap, the leader of the Snag'em base, and this is actually the second attempt because the first attempt I came in here with half health, so I didn't really see a need to show it because I lost pretty quickly. Anyway, 2 Mega Drains take down the Electrode, and from here on out, the Nuzleaf should have used Hyper Beam. Huh, I didn't even know it had Feint Attack. Okay, well, I think that might be better. It's preying on my weaker special defense, but I think the Hyper Beams might be hurting more. Anyway, I guess I'll take it. Out comes Whiscash, which should just be a one-shot, and heal me to full. And not quite, but pretty close. Out comes Skarmory. Feint Attack really isn't doing too much damage. I decide to just take it down now. And the Skarmory uses Aerial Ace. Okay, that makes sense. I miss a Sleep Powder. And this time I get it. And this is another Pokemon that is 4 times resistant to my moves, so this is going to take quite a few hits. A Body Slam, a Mega Drain. Mega Drain's doing slightly more, so I'm just going to keep spamming that. I do get a lucky crit there, which does speed up the battle quite a bit. And after one more hit, he should go down, and that'll be Gonzap second attempt. So pretty good. Anyway, moving up the pyramid here, I meet my first and only rival Tangela. Yeah, there's not a lot of Tangela in this game. Anyway, on to Gorgon. His whole deal is Earthquake, but luckily, being a Grass type is actually pretty good against him. This is the second attempt, because the first attempt really isn't all that interesting. Because it's basically the same, but I got a little less lucky. Basically, this Slowking here hit me with Water Pulse last time, I got confused, and hit myself just enough to lose. So basically, it's not all that interesting of a battle. So I'm just going to show the second one because it shows everything anyway. I go for Hidden Power Poison, just to take down the Slowking and save on some power points. Out comes Ursaring. Now I know for a fact this thing isn't a one-shot because of the other Ursaring on the upper floor before you do this fight. So it's a good way of gauging how well you're going to do against it. But I do know it's a two-shot, so I can just take it down in a couple hits. Lairon really isn't too big a threat to me because it has a 75% accurate move that it's going to spam. So realistically, it's not going to hit me too often. And it's not even doing that much damage anyway. Yeah, it's not too bad. So I go for the Primeape here, and it's not quite a one-shot, unfortunately. Shadow Storm is going to be doing a decent bit of damage though. Another Iron Tail hit, as long as it doesn't lower my defense. Okay, well that's a little unfortunate, but not a death to this specific battle. Primeape goes down, and then out comes Hypno. Now I actually think Hypno is going to be a bit more threatening, because it's definitely a lot more tanky than the Primeape is. So I go for Mega Drain, and it's doing about a third. Shadow Storm comes out. This is going to do a bit more damage. And it still looks to be about a 4-shot. And I'm down to half health. Now I decide to just go ahead and take down the Lairon here for 2 reasons. 1, so that it's not really a factor anymore, and 2, I'm going to heal up quite a bit of health from it. Another Shadow Storm. Now unless it gets a crit, I think I'm safe. So 1 Mega Drain. Shadow Storm comes out and doesn't get a crit. Okay. Well, that is Gorgon on the second attempt, so not too bad. Now, I haven't really been showing any of the battles because they're not really too interesting, but I will say that Tangela is actually doing pretty decent. It's definitely slower than a lot of Pokemon, but it could do fairly well. So, I got some high hopes here. We go to this battle. Now, I am a female, so I do need to take down the Gardevoir in a single hit, or I get attracted. Okay, well, that's not great. Um, okay, well, maybe just bad luck? No. Anyway, so I decided to go to this place called the Real Gam Coliseum. To just get some levels, because I know the Pokemon are a little higher leveled here. And on top of that, I think if I can beat all 4 rounds, I'll get access to the move Giga Drain, which would definitely do a lot more damage than the Mega Drain. And unfortunately, I lose. So anyway, let's just go ahead and get right back into this battle. And this is actually attempt number 8. Yeah, Lovrina actually took quite a few attempts, and that's basically because I can always get frozen by either the Gardevoir or the Gorbis. There were attempts done in between where I still couldn't one-shot the Gardevoir. And on top of that, the Farfetch'd here has a move called Shadow Panic, which is only 50% accurate, but it has the chance to confuse you. So it's really not good to get hit by. So after 8 attempts of just kind of bad luck or just not being leveled up high enough, I finally get to this one where I'm able to take her down. So, not great, but it's okay. Only took an hour and a half. Anyway, we move up to Snaddle, who is either going to be a complete pushover or the hardest boss fight so far. Anyway, he leads with a Quagsire and a Metang. I'm able to take down the Quagsire. I put the Scizor to sleep when it comes out. Another Ice Punch, and Metang's just going to be using Ice Punch the entire time, which does have a chance for freeze. That was a strong Silver Wind, but it was a crit, so I think I should be able to survive another. And there's another. And an Ice Punch taking me incredibly low. I go for Mega Drain just to get a little more health back. Silver Wind, Ice Punch, I'm down to 2 health. Okay, well, I guess this was just a first attempt, so it's probably a bit of a wash. Anyway, out comes Solrock. Silver Wind takes me down to 5. Mega Drain, and I heal up a good bit. Okay, Cast Form I don't think is going to be a one-shot, and it's going to use Flamethrower and probably end me here. Never mind. Okay, so Cast Form goes down, but there's no way I outspeed the Starmie, right? I only have 60 base speed. I outrun the Starmie? And somehow I brought this battle that definitely looked like it was going to end to a victory. Well, that's first try Snaddle. Okay. Hey, that's pretty good, right? Well then here's this guy, Ardos. Now, in my opinion, always the hardest for special attackers, simply because of the Snorlax at the end. Anyway, this is looking fairly decent. Shadow Break is doing quite a bit. Kingdra does have Ice Beam, which is really bad. And I go for Mega Drain here. It's not enough to take down the Kingdra. Another Ice Beam. Swellow can't move because of paralysis, which is nice. Just kind of lucky. Mega Drain takes down the Kingdra. Out comes Heracross. Uses Shadow Half, which halves all the HP of everything on the field, but next turn it'll have to recharge, which is kind of nice. I go for Body Slam. I take down the Heracross with a crit, so I'm not sure if that would have taken him down. And I go for Mega Drain to see how much it does. How much does Shadow Storm do? Okay, not enough to take me down. Set up another Shadow Sky. I take down the Electabuzz. And then out comes Snorlax. Shadow Break. It takes me down. Okay, well not too bad for a first attempt, but I'm going to teach the move Protect over Sleep Powder, just because I don't really see Sleep Powder being all that useful anymore. And so we jump forward a few attempts later. This is now attempt number 5, which goes to show that it was a little bit of a struggle, but honestly not too bad. I think that's just because I'm over-leveled quite a bit. And the thing about this fight is, it is just a bit luck-based, because a few of these attempts, the Swellow used Shadow Half on the second turn, sometimes on the third turn, sometimes on the fourth turn. So I decided not to rely on it this time, which seems to be going better. Anyway, I go for Protect this turn, and actually get the lucky Shadow Half on Electabuzz, making Heracross a guaranteed one-shot with Body Slam. Mega Horn surprisingly doesn't take me down. Out comes Snorlax. Now this thing is quite scary, because it is just going to be using a 50-50 Shadow End on me, which could just end me. Luckily, the Electabuzz just goes for Mist here, so I don't get taken down. Shadow End comes out, doing about 50 damage, so a little scary, but as long as I can stay above that point, I win. Okay. Yeah, 5th attempt, not too shabby. And now we move on to Gorgon once again. Now, I have a feeling that this is going to be similar to the previous version of the fight. So I'm able to actually take down the Slowking in a single hit this time. Ursaring's still a 2-shot just like it was prior. So I decided to take it down. And once again, I'm keeping the Aggron alive because it's definitely the weakest thing here. And surprisingly, I take down the Walrein in a single hit with Mega Drain. Now out comes Poliwrath, which should also just be a one-shot with Mega Drain. And now Mr. Mime. This thing might be a bit of a threat, but I'm at full health, so it shouldn't really be. And it gets paralyzed. Okay, well that's good. And yeah, that was an easy first try. Yep, Mega Drain should take it down in a single hit. Okay, now we move on to Eldis, who, this is now the second attempt because the first attempt went terribly. Basically, the Salamence got a crit, and it took me down to near death pretty much right off the bat. Anyway, in this attempt, and as you can see, the Salamence really doesn't take too much damage either. Every other turn I'm just going to use Protect, and that's so that the Ninjask can waste all of its Silver Winds. Unfortunately, it does get the Omni Boost there. Shadow Rush is doing a little bit of damage to me. Another Protect, another Silver Wind, and now it should be out of Silver Winds, so it's just going to spam Protect and Aerial Ace from here on out, so as long as I counter Protect, it can't actually hit me, ever. So I go for Body Slam to take down the Salamence, and out comes Flygon. After one more Protect, this thing is actually part Ground type, so Grass type moves are going to be neutral, so I'm able to take it down. Okay, maybe not in a single hit. Okay. I thought it'd be doing a little bit more damage than that. Anyway, I take it down with Body Slam. And then out comes Marowak. Now this thing I'm almost certain is a one-shot, just because it's got a pretty terrible special defense stat. And yep, goes down in a single hit. And then out comes Lapras. Now this thing will always set up Shadow Sky on the first turn, so I decide to just go ahead and hit it. Out comes the Fruity Pebbles. I take down the Lapras. And I go for Body Slam into the Ninjask, which should probably be a one-shot. Maybe? And I got a crit. Okay, no idea, but that's good. Moving on to the final battle in the game, but before I can get to there, I have to fight the big box legendary Shadow Lugia, who is definitely kind of threatening in this fight because I don't really have anything to hit it well, and on top of that, it's doing quite a bit of damage to me. I go for Protect just to heal up a bit. Body Slam nearly takes it down. Another Shadow Storm. One more Protect. And I take it down at very low health. So we go into the final battle. I go for Protect first turn to heal up a little bit of health. Mega Drain on the Rhydon just to get some health back as well. Out comes Executor. Shadow Fire comes out, doing a decent amount of damage. I go for Protect once again, heal up a little bit, and as you can see, the Executor is actually using Shadow Storm this time. And I think that's just because I'm weaker on the special side. So after just a couple turns, I'm taken down. So yeah, I decide after that it's time to go train up again, and I'm back at the Real Gam Coliseum once again to go pick up the TM for Giga Drain, because I'm definitely strong enough to take down these birds this time. Because on top of just being stronger, I also have the move Protect now, so I can actually work around Sky Attack. I didn't show it, but that is kind of his gimmick, his Sky Attack. And grass types really have a hard time actually getting his Pokemon defeated in time to stop that from happening. Anyway, I take him down, and I look into my items, and there is no Giga Drain. So the wiki page I was looking at for TMs is wrong. There's no Giga Drain here. So that's kind of unfortunate. So after a bit more training and all my rare candies, we are now at level 91, and now we reattempt the fight. Now this is where I realized that this is going to be quite a bit of a struggle. And that's just because it seems that I just don't really do enough damage to things I need to take down, like that Tauros there. And, really, I don't think I'm ready for this battle just yet. I'm still a little too weak and a little too frail. So after just a few more turns here, I'm taken down. And despite my best efforts, it's going to need a little bit more training. Also, the Rhydon has Shadow Panic, which I learned during this fight, and for some reason it only used it when I was level 92 and level 94, so I don't know what that's about. Anyway, I got Drastic. Okay, I went ahead and taught Double Edge, which really isn't a good move, but it does more damage, so maybe it's a 2-shot on the Articuno? No. Okay. Well, that's alright. I decided to go ahead and teach Sleep Powder back, which I get rid of Hidden Power for, meaning that I lost all my neutral damage to everything that doesn't hurt me. So, let's just go ahead and see how this goes in the final fight, which is attempt number 23. Yeah, so this fight actually took quite a few attempts. Anyway, so I go for Double Edge on the first turn to get the Moltres low as possible. And as you can see, oh, it was 96, not 94. Oh well. And as you can see, I decided to take down the Rhydon here because I don't want to get hit by Shadow Panic. And for some reason, this Executor is very strange. If it's at full health, it wants to use Shadow Rave. If it's very low health, it wants to use Shadow End. Now, I don't know what that's about, but the first turn it came out every time it wants to use Shadow Hold, like it just did there. So I get at least one turn to deal with something else. I do decide to Double Edge it here and take the chip damage. Out comes Shadow Fire, doing about a quarter of my health altogether. It uses Shadow Hold, and I'm going to use Protect here just to make sure that it is going to be using Shadow End. Because despite what I said, sometimes it still likes to use Shadow End, or Shadow Rave. So anyway, I take down the Moltres here, because Shadow End is a decent move to gamble on. It's a 50-50. And unfortunately, I somehow don't hit the range for Mega Drain, which I thought it was guaranteed, but I guess it's not. So that's a little dangerous. Shadow Fire comes out, Shadow End once again. And now I go for Mega Drain to take down the Moltres. And after all these levels, I know for a fact that Tauros is a one-shot with Mega Drain, so I'm not really frightened of it. And basically at this point, it is just a cow to heal off of. Or I guess bull. So I suck its life, and it gets me up a decent amount. Now strangely, the Articuno has never once used Shadow Sky in all my attempts, so I don't think it's going to use it this time, so I decide to go for Protect just to get a bit more health back. And yeah, it's just using Shadow Chill. I go for Sleep Powder on it, which actually hits this time, unlike the last attempt. So now I should be able to take it down. Hopefully. I just have to be a little careful. I go for Double Edge into it. And it's actually looking to be a 2-shot. So that's quite a relief. So I go for one more Double Edge. And it hangs on by a sliver. Don't wake up. Okay, it doesn't wake up. And I decided this turn to just play it safe. I go for Protect here. Just in case it wakes up, I can heal a little bit more health. And I know I'm faster than it, so it's not a danger even if it did wake up. So I go for Mega Drain to take it down, and heal that 2 HP that I might get from it. And out comes his final Pokemon, which is Zapdos. Now this thing actually does, I think, the most amount of damage out of all 3 birds. Which, for me, doesn't really make too much sense, but maybe it actually does have a higher special attack stat than the other 2. Anyway, I go for Sleep Powder to play it safe. I'd rather not have to deal with it if I don't have to. Shadow End misses. I go for Double Edge. And part of the strategy of this fight is really just hoping that the Shadow Ends miss. And Executor is actually being quite reasonable. So I'm able to take down the Zapdos. And another Shadow End miss. And that does it. After 23 attempts, I'm able to beat Greevil. And unfortunately, this last fight alone pushed Tangela's time really high up there. Like, I haven't had a Pokemon this high up since Poochyena, and Poochyena I gave up on. So I guess it'd be more fit to say Eevee, because it was actually able to complete the game. And its final time was 18 hours, 32 minutes, and 16 seconds, which is quite a lot. It ended at level 96, and had 59 feints throughout the game, 23 of those being Greevil alone. So that just goes to show just how strong Greevil was. And honestly, it's a bit of a letdown. I thought Tangela was going to do so much better. Now part of that might have just been me thinking that it would be better, so I put more on its shoulders. But also, I guess its lack of move pool is what really brought it down. Like, it literally just got grass and normal type moves, and then the dark type move Thief and Hidden Power. So I guess in terms of placement, I'm gonna have to put it as our first D tier. It's definitely faster than Eevee, it's better than Eevee, and it didn't even reach level 100, so I think it will be the D tier. I think level 100 Pokemon might just have to be E tier Pokemon, so the cutoff between D and E is level 100. But with that, I think that's about it. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to subscribe, hey, thank you. If you like this video, like it, and please comment down some Pokemon below. I might go for something a little different next week, if I can find time for it, because it would be kind of neat, but also I just need to hunker down and actually get it done if I want to do it how I want to do it. Anyway, bye.